Got it. Welcome to the January Capital Program Oversight Committee. Some of my colleagues are going to join us in a second. Tom, do we have public speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have 6 public speakers. The first public speaker is Omar Vera, who will be followed by Jason Anthony.
Good afternoon, MTA Board CPOC Committee, and welcome to a brand new decade, 2020s, with the year 2020 itself. So let's get down to business. First of all, I've noticed earlier this month the report that Bombardier has failed to meet up its commitments with the R179, and they basically made us lemon cars, which is no good. You saw how bad the R46 was before they were refurbished in the late 80s and early 90s. But now we're suffering through the lemon phase again, and someone's got to hold Bombardier accountable. And I do know here, Andy Byford, he will hold Bombardier accountable. I know you will. It's what a shame that, like, we asked them simple requests, modern cars with little failure, and instead they gave us a complete disaster. So it's on them. Bombardier has to answer or suffer for the consequences, including, I'm going to leave that to you guys, but you have the power to do lawsuits, so there you go. And that said, next part, I would like to also discuss how amazing we're moving forward with the Omni program. Oh my God! Like I mentioned, the finance, Omni's great. I did my tap and go with my credit card on Christmas Eve. It was amazing, and I cannot wait until the full Omni card will come in 2021. If possible, could you expedite the construction of new vending machines by 21 instead of 22? Because that will actually be beneficial. Because I want to try my 30-day unlimited with tap and go, 7 and 30-day limited as soon as possible. Oh, and one more thing. While the R179s will eventually be put back in service soon enough, I was hoping that you at least mix the C and the J and Z subway rolling stock so that there'll be half R160s and half R32s. It's not fair that the R32s are all on the C, and the C deserves like new subway cars.
Please
so at least
conclude your comments.
half and half. All right. With that said, thanks a lot, and I'll see you around.
Thank you. The next public speaker is Jason Anthony, who will be followed by Matt Camper.
Hi, Pat. Nice to see you again after a long Christmas recess. This month I'm going to talk about the R211s because the R211s should replace the R46. And honestly, I don't want to see subway cars that are my age or older. So that being said, we want new cars and no old cars. And I'm excited that we're going to have a better, let's say, a combination of Fulton Center and other station complexes, but in, like I call it, in steroids. Because we're going to have 42nd Street Port Authority, TSQ, Times Square, and Bryant Park in a single station complex by 2022. And that's thanks to Janet Lever, who I love when Janet Lever makes wonders and give us good surprises, not like your predecessor that left more question marks than answers. At least with people like you, we could count on, because you give us the answers that we always look for. So that being said, I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Next speaker is Matt Camper, followed by Bruce Hain.
Good afternoon, members of the CPOC committee. First of all, most importantly, I'm very happy with the news this morning at Transit and Bus regarding the R179s. Understanding that the R179s are going to be start to put back into service after that taking it all out of service due to the door problems, hopefully later this weekend, thanks to Andy and his team, most importantly, and Sally for all of your hard work, and the team at New York City Transit for making this happen. And most importantly, I'm really looking forward to hearing more updates regarding the R211s. It's long overdue. definitely most important, you need to get those cars, you know, the R62, the R46 is out of service, you know, eventually, because it's past its useful life. So, and especially more amenities, the better. So, looking forward to hearing more about the updates on the R211. So, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next public speaker is Bruce Hain, followed by Kevin Zhang.
Well, inasmuch as I can't remember what I said this morning or where I stopped, and I want to talk about infrastructure, that is capital programs, I think I've made that much clear anyway. I thought I would, well, no, maybe I'll just better just pick up here and try and leave out the negative stuff. If you had a more robust 10-foot wide Innovia, did I say anything like that? That would be a good thing. We sorely need something on the line of Innovia if we want to move forward. I mean, you don't get square wheels. Now, when Andy Byford came from England, they have to report a square wheel. If there's a car that gets a flat spot, they have to report it within like 30 minutes, and they take it out of service. That's the way it was when I was there just for a few days 10 years ago. And you know, it's nothing like that here. They know how to run a subway, but you see, and we have things like, if you would compare, for instance, the East Side Access Project. Now Gianno Lieber has rescued us from the destructiveness of certain forces around the East Side Access Project. But the project, compare it to the Penn Station Tunnel to Long Island City. That's 4 tubes. They cross underground when they come up in Queens, and that curve has a radius of 3,500 feet. That's good for 90 miles an hour above ground. What have they got on the East Side Access Project? They've got a reverse curve, one on either side of the river. It's about 760 foot radius. That's good for 30 miles an hour, 32 and a half maybe miles an hour. You got to understand that these, and because of it, you can't run 4 tracks onto the Hellgate Bridge.
Please conclude your comments.
It's not, we'll need to have an East Side Access remediation project, and I've been working on one just in Queens.
Thank you. Next public speaker is Kevin Zhang.
Hello, good afternoon to Pet Foy. I also want to mention that all R179 subway cars are having a doors issue since the C train has 2 incidents on December 24th, 2019 and January 3rd, 2020. It needs to get rid all R179 subway cars from Bombardier and increase 318 R211 subway cars so that it doesn't need a door problems, and R211 subway cars will be running on the A, C, J, and C trains to replace R179 subway cars. Or all R179 subway cars needs to repair the door problems, and it takes time to complete testing doors properly until all R179 subway cars resolve all passenger doors and will be running again in service by the time R32 and R32 subway cars will be retired in the future. If the R179 subway cars having an issue, including doors and software again, then get rid all R179 subway cars from Bombardier contract, and subway cars will not be getting Bombardier contract in the future, and will still getting Kawasaki, Alstom, and Siemens contract. R211 subway cars will be having Wi-Fi and USB charging stations. Also, R262 subway cars will be installed Wi-Fi and USB charging stations in the future, as well as new subway cars coming up. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Charlton D'Souza.
Good afternoon, Pat Foy. Nice to finally meet you. I'm Charlton D'Souza from Passengers United, and I want to say one thing to this board. I live at Belmont Park in Queens Village, and I really feel that you guys should have had at least a public hearing on the new Elmont station to get input from the residents, because even though the station is called Elmont, it's not actually in Elmont. It's more towards Belrose, and the people who live in Elmont can't get to the station. You guys are going to have to add a bus route. So that brings me to a nice bus. Many years ago in 2008, when you guys did the budget cuts, obviously many board members were not here. It was a different time. But I remember going to those public hearings and speaking out. And we lost Long Island Bus, which was run by the MTA. And I know you live in Long Island, Pat Foy. Why don't you try to see within your power if you can talk to the governor and get Long Island Bus back and get the MTA to run the Long Island Railroad shuttles again and the whole Long Island Bus Company. That would be really nice. Nice Bus is a mess. Even though the MTA charges 75 cents for the fare box use per transaction, the service is horrible. And a lot of your fare-paying passengers who ride the subway and bus have a horrible commute. Nice Bus should not be operating in New York State. The MTA needs to do the right thing, and the governor needs to do the right thing and say, you know what, we're going to bring regional bus back, because regional bus was the best thing. So I hope during your term as chairman that you can do that. That would be greatly appreciated. And, since we lost that, the railroad shuttles have been a mess. Nice Bus it will never be what the MTA was. So please bring that back. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public speakers.
Thank you. Copies of the minutes of the December 16th CPOC meeting have been distributed or on the website. Do I have a motion to approve them? Second. Any changes? All in favor? Aye. All right, terrific. Thank you. Tom, any changes to the committee work plan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there is one change. We have added a presentation on the 42nd Street Connection Project to today's agenda.
Okay, that's a great segue to a presentation by Jan Oliver and Mo Solomon on 42nd Street Connection.
And I'm going to go, actually, Mr. Chairman, I look around and I see the same complement of board members who were subjected to a brief version of it this morning. So I'm going to try to go fast, and my brother, Mr. Solomon, will do the same. The 42nd Street Connection Project is a strategic effort to combine 8 separate projects, which came into being because both fragmentation of our procurement process, but also because several of the projects were developed, were as a result of the East Midtown rezoning, were being done by developers and so on and so on, and we elected to try to combine them into a single initiative because the 42nd Street corridor, as I think one of the public speakers highlighted, is really the backbone of our entire network. It has 1.2 million customers daily. So very quickly, what we did, obviously the Times Square shuttle is a centerpiece of this effort, and making sure that that can become ADA accessible and can carry more passengers, and that we can deliver all of that without making it unusable in the meantime, which is a bit of a challenge because it is so heavily used every day. And in Grand Central, where there were, as we said, there's a real problem of vertical circulation, both from mezzanine to platform and from street to platform, and in street to mezzanine. In every case, we're getting significant additional capacity in vertical circulation, including several additional fare arrays. So we're going to show you all the details, and one of the things that we're proud about and that we hope we'll be able to replicate again and again is that we took a project that had a lot of different components, and we've managed to cut back key elements by an average of 30 to 40% in duration, saved a little money, but equally important because of the impact on the customer, significantly improved the duration. And one element of that is that the escalators that come out of the 42nd Street Passage in Grand Central, which were slated to be out of service for 14 months, are down to 8 months, and that entire stair configuration is being handled in a much shortened time. It is disruptive right now, but it is being managed, and thanks to the folks at Transit, we've worked closely with Andy and his team, and with all that preliminary, I'm going to ask Mo Solomon to take it away, but quick.
Thank you, Jano. I'm going to recap some of the points that you made really quickly and just walk everyone through some of the projects. I'm going to start with the 42nd Street shuttle. Some basic facts about the shuttle: that we have 100,000 customers riding the shuttle daily. We connect east and west subway lines. Under the scope of this project, we are going to provide a new ADA accessible platform. We're going to increase subway car capacity by 20%, and we're improving system reliability by eliminating platform gap fillers and providing new rail systems. The project's currently underway. We have improved the schedule by 25%. One of the key things that we've done with this project is we've re-engineered high-risk developer scope, and we've negotiated a $7.5 million credit with the developer, something we're very pleased with. The project's currently on budget and on schedule. Next is the 42nd Street passageway subway entrance. Another ridership fact, because this area is just very high volume. There are 180,000 customers that use this station entrance over by Grand Central on a daily basis. That is 60% of Metro North's entire daily ridership. So it's very high volume. This project is replacing ADA elevator, escalator, and stairs that have exceeded their useful life. Again, this project is also underway. We've reduced the schedule by 25%. We've also reduced some of the phases of the project. We reduced the schedule phasing of the stairs by 75%, and we've reduced the escalator closure by 40%. The rephasing of the projects definitely improved customer circulation and customer experience.
That's literally the busiest entrance in our subway system. It's an unbelievably challenging location. Yeah.
Next is also at Grand Central Station on the Lexington Avenue line. We have an important developer-funded project. It's providing much-needed capacity improvement to New York City Transit's second flagship location. Already completed is the addition of 15,000 square feet of new mezzanine space, 5 new platforms, and a new ADA elevator. Over the last 6 months, we've been working side by side with the developer to improve the project delivery process. The project is going to be substantially completed around March 2020, which is ahead of the developer's opening of their new tower, which is planned for August 2020. And as Jano mentioned, this project was made possible through New York City's East Midtown rezoning initiative, and there's more of that that's going to be coming in this area. Next is the other half of the Grand Central mezzanine. So the One Vanderbilt project funded the north side of the mezzanine, and now we have a plan for the south side of the mezzanine. We have an upcoming project to complete the work and transform this station into a world-class space. We're going to be bundling that work with our overall connection project as part of our Better, Faster, Cheaper initiative. And we've already started this work. We've negotiated an agreement with the developer to rescope some of their program so that we can get the work going as quickly as possible. We're also, at this same very station, we're going to replace 3 very important elevators. These elevators provide access to the Lex line platforms and to the Flushing line platforms. They're frequently used. They need to be reliable. They've passed their useful life. So we are moving very quickly to get these elevators replaced. We're going to start this year, and we've improved on the schedule significantly. Initially, we had a plan for a 33-month construction schedule, which we've now compressed to 20 months. Also at Grand Central is a very large, sprawling complex, and we're going to talk about the Flushing line. Flushing line is one of the busiest lines in the system, and 42nd Street Station is at or near capacity. So improving the vertical circulation is a top priority for MTA, and maintaining good customer level of service now and in the future. We have a plan that's going to bundle upcoming projects that are going to widen existing stairs and build new ones so we can continue good level of service to MTA's customers.
Hey, Mo, just one stop. Mention there's an elevator that went out of service there, which is hugely important, and we've accelerated the repair, right? Worth mentioning.
Yes, that's correct. There was the one elevator that serves the Flushing line had a catastrophic failure back in the summer of 2019. We moved quickly to get that elevator replaced, and we're going to have it completed by April 30 of 2020. That's the only elevator that serves the Flushing line platform on the number 7 train. Also, this same station has 8 escalators for passenger access. Because of the depth of the stations, passengers really rely on the escalators to get in and out. They're very critical at this location. So we're going to be replacing the 8 escalators that are almost at their useful life as part of our connection project bundling. The logistics of the escalator replacements are very complicated, and we're going to make sure that we dovetail their replacement with the phasing of other key projects, especially the capacity improvement projects. Next is ADA improvements over at the 42nd Street, 5th and 6th Avenue Station Complex. This station is not quite as busy as Grand Central and Times Square, but there are 160,000 customers that use this complex on a daily basis. Again, very high volume. We're going to make it fully ADA accessible. We're going to bundle it with the connection project, and we're going to capitalize on cost-saving opportunities with things like engineering force count and TA labor. Lastly, you may have seen some of our new branding that went out last week. The branding is intended to provide customer-friendly and uniform wayfinding information. We've also been deploying MTA staff to provide assistance with wayfinding and crowd management, just as part of our approach to improving the customer experience. That's all I have, and I have some samples of branding material if anyone's interested in taking some. Jano?
Questions from anybody on 42nd?
I really like this project for a couple of reasons. One is that you're changing the entire customer experience. We don't just go in and use one elevator or one stair. We walk through, and this takes the whole package and makes it all better. The other thing I like about it is you're by bundling with the private developers, we're going to get an overall better project, because that way we can really make good use of what they are planning to do with what we're planning to do. So it's a breakthrough in my mind.
It's great. One of the things that we all know is that what makes Grand Central upstairs great, apart from the fantastic architecture, is its porosity, the way you can get in and out in so many different ways. You can navigate across that incredibly busy part of Midtown. We need the subway, which is even more busy, to provide the same level of, sort of navigability and circulation capacity. All this extra circulation space, I didn't mention that we're adding 25% of extra space on the mezzanine. You've got the huge expansion of the fare array that's already been in place at the 42nd Street entrance. We're getting a new fare array at the north and at the Lexington Passage. So all of a sudden, this, even though the ceilings are still low, this is going to become a place that people can move through, I think, much more effectively.
Why don't we start with the New York City Transit Capital Program update, and Pete Tomlin, over to you for signals and train control.
Good afternoon. My name is Pete Tomlin. I'm the Vice President of CBTC Signals and Train Control Engineering for NYCT. This update will provide an overview of the 2020-2024 capital plan for CBTC, followed by updates on the 4 projects in construction, the ultra-wideband project, an update on lessons learned, and a word on the Flushing project in the closeout phase. There is additional information in the back of the pack under the projects for reference, but they're not presented here. The upcoming capital plan is the first major implementation of the Fast Forward plan with regard to signalling. The 6 corridors were strategically selected based on current capacity constraints and areas in need of urgent signalling renewal or state of good repair. It is expected that over 60% of our passengers will have a better journey or part journey when the program is complete. 47 of the 50 busiest stations on the subway network are covered under this plan. The subsequent capital plan starting in 2025 will bring the total line corridors upgraded to 15, with over 80% of our customers getting a better journey. This plan is the most ambitious resignaling program ever undertaken worldwide, and against a backdrop of maintaining service for our near 6 million daily passengers, 24/7, 365 days a year. In support, Mitsubishi has been qualified as the third CBTC supplier, more on this later, and technical meetings are currently taking place with Alstom to determine how a path to interoperability certification can happen. Also, new innovative technologies, axle counters for 8th Avenue, and the success of ultra-wideband, more on this later, are being evaluated for use in this plan. Additionally, several other innovative technologies are being explored to see if or how they can support accelerating this plan. All of this is good news because the goal of this capital plan is to put 220 miles of track controlled by CBTC into passenger service compared to the 43 miles over the last 20 years. The 8th Avenue project is an ambitious 60-month schedule that will see 59th Street in Manhattan to High Street in Brooklyn equipped with modern signaling technology. Also, as part of this near 6-mile-long project, 2 of the 5 interlockings will be upgraded at 30th Street and 42nd Street. And this is the first project in New York to use axle counters. It was awarded to LK Comstock with Siemens as the CBTC supplier on the 11th of January this year. The use of axle counters replaces the traditional track circuits. Axle counters help reduce delays as they use more resilient components, which are much less susceptible to water and debris. Installation is easier, less complex, and the time needed much less, therefore requires less outages to complete. This provides great savings in GOs and less passenger disruption. Track repairs and replacements can also happen more efficiently. These savings also flow down to lower the maintenance costs and lessen disruption from maintenance to our passengers. The trains to support this project are the R211 Kawasaki trains that will arrive already installed and tested with Thales onboard CBTC equipment, and the R179s already on property will be retrofitted with the Siemens onboard equipment as part of another direct contract to NYCT to support 8th Avenue. The schedules of the train deliveries and the wayside CBTC readiness are now all aligned. Moving on to QBL West. This project is made up of 3 major contracts, 1 installer, LK Comstock, and 2 CBTC suppliers, Siemens and Thales, with Siemens being awarded 95% and Thales 5% of the CBTC portion to ensure interoperability. It will effectively be put into service in 4 sections, with the intermediate section being first, that's shown in red. Because the intermediate express tracks are commissioned separately, this makes 4 sections overall. This approach to use an intermediate section increases the likelihood of good reliability when we go into service for the first time. This project is the first fully interoperable I2S project for NYCT, as Flushing is all Thales and Canarsie is all Siemens. The intermediate section is on track to go into service in March of this year and section 1 in May of this year. The percentage complete shown here are in line with the PSRs and the payments made. Actual progress is shown in the next slide. There is an expected increase in TA labour costs currently being evaluated, which is related to the changes in the GOs and the associated flagging requirements, the changes of the flagging rules and access and protection requirements. All other delivery aspects are within budget. Physical installation overall stands at 73%, with the intermediate section and section 1 at 100%. All cables have been run for the entire project, and the data communication system installation stands at 80% for the full project. The CBTC activities are at 70% completion, with mostly field testing and safety certification remaining. For the trains, over 200 of the 261 installed and tested units have been safety certified for passenger service. The intermediate section in service date moved from September 2019 to March of this year for the reasons given in the last CPOC, mostly the lack of GOs, but this new date of March is holding firm. However, the 3 to 6 month delay exposure, also reported in the last CPOC, has now been significantly reduced, and while the end date of March 2021 is still very challenging, we are expecting to complete on schedule. Currently, over 120 train operators out of the 1,000 required are trained, and completion of all the training is on track for Section 1. Installation continues at pace, including the DCS, in both Sections 2 and 3, and there are less than 50 train units remaining to be installed and tested. Some trains that have been installed and tested and safety certified are being run in monitoring mode, and that's to confirm the reliability before these trains are used in service. All the planned work from the previous look ahead was completed on time. During the next 6 months, the intermediate section and Section 1 will be placed into service, and all remaining train units will be installed, tested and safety certified. We will continue to ramp up the trains in monitoring mode to ensure reliability in service. Installation of the AWS system in Sections 2 and 3 will be completed, and the CBTC testing will commence in both Sections 2 and 3.
Mr. Chairman, can you go back one slide? You're probably going to want to change 71st Street to 71st Avenue on that slide.
Okay. Sorry? Oh. Pardon? Oh yeah, okay. Yes.
My practice is when Andrew makes these suggestions, just to take them. He's always right.
Yes. Okay, the picture on the left shows the RCC control console for QBL at the RCC. This provides a significant improvement over the current system that will enhance centralized operations of the QBL corridor once it's in service. The picture on the right shows the scale of the relay room at 71st Avenue and all the work involved in the AWS. This room is as big as some smaller cities' entire signaling operations. On the left is the data communication system equipment installed at trackside and the associated wayside case. On the right is one of the 309 train units equipped with the onboard CBTC. Onto the Culver project. This was awarded to Tutor Perini, Siemens providing the interoperable CBTC solution. The Culver Line project runs from Church Avenue to West 8th Street in Brooklyn. The project started in February 2019 and will be complete in August of 2022, a very aggressive 42-month schedule. No trains are required for this upgrade, as they will be equipped with CBTC under the QBL project. With 10 months completed, the project is progressing well. Regular team and steering committee meetings were established that quickly resolve issues and challenges as they arise. Since NTP, a lot of construction work has taken place, and the project is very well on schedule. As the construction matures, the surveys, equipment layouts and installation picks up. The next 6 months will see the completion of the new signals facilities and the installation of signaling messenger brackets and cables. Installation of the CBTC wayside equipment platforms also starts. Delivery of the wayside radio equipment for the DCS will also de-risk later schedule activities. There are no issues to report on this project. These pictures give a good insight to the scale of construction work achieved since NTP. These are two of the signalling rooms for the Culver project. And this is the third, Bay Parkway facility. And as you can see, it's a big facility and a lot of work. There was nothing here 11 months ago. This work includes relay rooms, fire suppression, rooms for batteries, mechanical equipment, communications equipment, and electrical distribution rooms, and of course, signaling equipment. The ultra-wideband project awarded us 2 projects in March of 2019, one on the Canarsie line with Siemens and Humatics, and the other on the Flushing line with Thales and Piper. They both cover about 4 miles of track. The goal of both projects was to determine whether ultra-wideband as an integrated part of CBTC system is safety certifiable. Formal safety certification now follows for these projects, as well as an evaluation of where they might intersect with the resignaling program in service. As a reminder, ultra-wideband is not a CBTC system in itself. It is an odometry system that determines position, speed, and direction of the train, but it can replace the entire existing CBTC positioning system on the train, as well as all the transponders and the beacons on the wayside. For context, in terms of software, the ultra-wideband accounts for less than 1% of the total train control system. Both shadow mode data collection for safety certification and functional testing to confirm operation and reliability were completed in 2019. 9 months from awarding the contracts, these 2 projects were substantially complete. This is a great achievement for the one team. These projects also used a different project execution model, with suppliers, consultants, in-house staff working very closely and collaboratively as one team to deliver the project. From the start of the specification and schedule definition to notice of award for 2 contracts was 9 weeks. Baseline schedule approved in about 5 weeks. The average submittal reviews were about 5 days. And the design was completed in approximately 3 months from the notice of award. Installation was successfully completed by in-house forces. Additional stretch targets such as potential worker safety at track and onboard train networks were also demonstrated. The next few months will see the completion of the data collection and conclusion of the options being exercised. All have shown very good possibilities to date. And it is worthy of note that we had 2 projects progressing quickly in parallel. These projects were extremely well executed and demonstrate what is possible working together. This is on top of the strong technical results achieved. The picture on the left is onboard the train on the Flushing line with ultra-wideband providing the positioning for the CBTC, and it worked flawlessly. On the right, an array of information and system feedback demonstrating the power of this new technology. The Canarsie line also conducted similar tests. And on January the 23rd, another onboard demonstration will take place with the press in attendance to showcase this cutting-edge technology. The Piper wayside equipment is shown here on the left and Humatics equipment shown on the right. The installation of this equipment is straightforward to install and has proved very reliable throughout the projects. All this bodes very well for improved implementation moving forward. Moving on to the third supplier qualification, Mitsubishi. Since September of 2015, Mitsubishi have been developing and testing their new CBTC solution to become the third supplier to NYCT for interoperable CBTC solutions. Conditional approval allows Mitsubishi to bid on upcoming capital projects, even though substantial completion has not been achieved. There is now a certainty that Mitsubishi will qualify to a firm schedule and do so by April 2020. This will increase the competition for CBTC with Thales and Siemens. All goals in the previous period have been achieved, and I'm very pleased to report that NYCT has granted full qualification to Mitsubishi for their carbon controller and conditional approval for their zone controller. This is a monumental achievement that cannot be overstated in what it brings to our subway system, given its complexity and all parties working together. It's a testament to the hard work, the great management and good governance of the one team made up of Mitsubishi, supported by Siemens and Thales, and overseen by NYCT with our consultants. Within the next 6 months, full certification will be achieved and this project will be closed out. Picture on the left shows the complexity of the onboard equipment. The one on the right shows the Mitsubishi train operator display as it's being driven in CBTC mode. Moving on to lessons learned and best practices. At the last CPOC, the chairman asked that lessons learned during the execution of the Flushing Line project be used in future CBTC projects planning such that mistakes made on Flushing were not repeated. Resignaling projects are known for their complexity and their implementation spans multiple years. This makes it difficult to track and record all the points that must be considered for the next project. It is therefore important to have a mechanism to capture not only lessons learned but best practices too, and to ensure the process becomes ingrained as a part of the way projects are planned and executed and not just one-off reviews from time to time. We considered all sources of lessons learned and how to channel them into a common place to ensure the quality of the advice given for future staff executing projects. The database is structured by project discipline, so it's possible to tailor the advice to particular disciplines and help staff. This slide also shows all the sources where lessons learned and best practices are gathered. They are then evaluated, and once approved, they're put into the database, which is accessible to all staff, and it's mandatory reading for all disciplines on future projects. Some examples of process lessons learned: stressing the importance of cross-discipline working groups, risk management, contractor oversight, and detailed agreements up front to prevent scope creep. The geo and the flagging requirements as related to QBL that we're reviewing at the moment will be a lessons learned once it's understood and fully captured. There are also technical lessons learned: the data communication surveys, accounting for vibration and environmental conditions, and special attention to the train to CBTC interface complexities and the dynamic testing of trains. Adherence to all of these lessons learned will ensure better execution of projects going forward. Lastly, on the Flushing Line, the project started in June 2010 with substantial completion in March of 2019. There were many challenges and setbacks and delays along the way, but today Flushing has now had 24/7 ATO operation available since early May of 2019, and the system is performing very reliably and consistently over 90% on-time performance. Both Canarsie and Flushing are now both fully CBTC. They're by far the best performing lines in the system, demonstrating that we have lots of improvements to look forward to as the Fast Forward rolls out CBTC across the network at an unprecedented rate. The transponder issue with snow and slush in December of 2019 that caused disruption to our passengers has been fully resolved. Special covers have been replaced on 560 of the 580 transponders, and new software has been installed to be much more tolerant of positional uncertainty, and we have a very high degree of confidence that this issue is completely resolved. Over the previous period, many training courses were completed, software releases and put into service, and all spare parts delivered to NYCT. The next 6 months on Flushing will see the completion of the punch list work, the final fix software releases, and the removal of all the old signaling equipment. This concludes my presentation.
So, Pete, good report. Before we go to the IEC, I just want to note three things. There are lots of good news in there. First, the qualification of a third supplier, Mitsubishi, incredibly important, bringing more competition. Second, the first use of axle counters, which is innovative. And third, the ongoing UWB pilot program, which I think is good news all around. I'll call on Chris Adams from the IEC to comment on Pete's presentation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. The IEC presentation commences on page 56 in the book. Our report will be addressing 3 active projects under the construction in the Signals and Train Control Program. CBTC Queens Boulevard line. The project has expended the budget for TA labor, and the IEC is in the process of identifying the reasons for the overruns and will review and comment on the project's request for budget increases when available. The IEC did observe that repeat testing in the intermediate section contributed to need for additional TA labor. The IEC recognizes the project team has taken several measures to reduce the impacts of early project delays. However, the compressed testing schedule from the baseline could present a risk to completing all in-service activities by March 2021. Clearly defined performance metrics with thresholds are needed to allow testing to move from one section to the next. This is an important lesson learned from the CBTC Flushing line. CBTC Culver line. The program is in the early construction phase, and based on our analysis, the IEC has confirmed that the project remains on budget and schedule. Because this project uses the same hardware and software as the CBTC QBL project, which is based on the I-squared specification, there is a risk associated with this program reliance on the successful commissioning of the QBL CBTC system on time. The interoperable supplier program, increasing the number of suppliers from 2 to 3 who are capable of meeting the NYCT I2S specifications, is a positive step and will increase the competition for agencies' fast-forward CBTC program. This concludes our report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Did agree with the concerns raised by the IEC with
do.
respect to adequate testing and
We do,
commissioning?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Okay. John Santamaria, please, on the update on the subway car program.
Thank you, Pat. Good afternoon. I'm John Santamaria, Vice President, Chief Mechanical Officer of Car Equipment within the Department of Subways. Today, I'll be presenting New York City Transit's update on the subway car capital program. I'd like to begin the presentation by briefly bringing you up to speed on the status of the R179. As was previously discussed during this morning's board meeting, on January 20th, Bombardier and their safety assessor issued formal statements attesting to the actions taken and the safety of the fleet for the return to service. New York City Transit project team, as well as our third-party engineering consultant, LTK, are reviewing all this information provided by Bombardier in support of their safety assessments. Once we receive the concurrence, we will return the fleet to service. As stated earlier, the safety of our customers is our #1 priority. Our testing, qualification, and acceptance practices reflect this commitment as we provide continual oversight on all layers within this project. I'd like to continue to provide you overall updates on the R179 project. The R179 project is replacing the R32 and R42 classes, which date back to the 1960s. These cars have been delivered, the R179s that is, CBTC ready, in support of the upcoming installation of CBTC on the 8th Avenue line. The R179 also expands the fleet by 46 cars to address service needs on the B division. The R179 contract was awarded to Bombardier in June of 2012. The original contract schedule called for the delivery of 300 cars by January 2017. As you know, this project has experienced several delays due to various manufacturing and production issues. Last year's CPOC presentation reported an estimated 31-month total delay, with overall delivery completion of 316 cars in September 2019, with New York City Transit receiving an additional 16 cars to settle liquidated damages resulting from these delays. As a result of the additional production delays and challenges faced by Bombardier throughout 2019, which were addressed and eventually resolved, an additional 3 months of delays were experienced by Bombardier. This ultimately led to a total delay of 35 months versus the original contract schedule. December 2019 versus January 2017. NYCT assessed additional liquidated damages against the new delivery schedule, which totaled in the amount of $7.7 million, resulting in New York City Transit receiving an additional 2 cars, 18 cars total, an additional $3.4 million to settle liquidated damages resulting from the additional production delays. The 318th and final car was delivered to New York City Transit on December 30th, 2019. Bombardier will continue to be performing NYCT-approved field modifications on these cars at no additional cost to NYCT, with minimal disruption to service. The project is within budget of its $744 million. Going back to the top, our subway car program is designed around 3 major goals. First, keeping our fleet in a state of good repair. This is done through regular maintenance programs as well as replacement of our subway cars following the end of their useful lives. Second, supporting the modernization efforts of our signal system. As you may know, CBTC, or Communication-Based Train Control, requires installation of signal communication equipment directly on our subway cars. This means any new subway car must be designed to accommodate CBTC equipment, and that existing subway cars be retrofitted to accommodate this equipment. Lastly, expanding the fleet to accommodate increases in subway service and to standardize car lengths on the B division, which increases operational flexibility and streamlines maintenance procedures. Investing in new subway cars has a tremendous impact on performance and reliability. One of the primary goals of our subway car capital program is the phasing out of our aging legacy fleet. As you can see, our Millennium fleet, which includes cars purchased over the last 20 years, averages over 200,000 miles between failures, which is approximately 3 times greater than our legacy fleet of cars purchased prior to the year 2000. A major factor that contributed to the overall car performance of the Millennium cars was the increases imposed on specific car system performance requirements within the technical specification language. These requirements are continually reviewed and revised as necessary on each future car procurement, leveraging lessons learned on the prior car classes, with NYCT always aiming to raise the bar in both vehicle subsystem and overall car performance. As mentioned earlier, New York City Transit's railcar fleets are designed and maintained to achieve a 40-year useful life. New subway car purchases are undertaken to allow retirement of cars after approximately 40 years of service. The chart on the left represents the current age breakdown of our subway car fleet, which consists of a total of 6,800 cars, including those operating on Staten Island Railway. The figures on the right show the projected age breakdown of our subway car fleet in August 2023 and December 2024, respectively. Yes, Andrew?
Sorry. This chart, on the right, it shows the 42s and 32s being gone by August 2023. Of course, the 179s were supposed to have replaced those cars, which meant much earlier retirement than August 2023, correct?
That is correct. Actually, the 42s and 32s will be phased out by the first quarter of this year.
That's what I thought. That's why that was a little misleading, but
I guess the milestone there was in August 2023.
All
we'll
of those will have been
500,
retired.
Right, they'll all be gone, and we'll have X amount of R211s in service.
Yep. Thank you.
The figures on the right show the projected age breakdown of our subway car fleet in August 2023 and 2024, respectively, following the completion of projects initiated in the 2020 through 2024 capital program. After receipt of the R211 cars and retirement of the 32s, 42s, 44s, and 46 cars. Looking ahead, the composition of our fleet for cars over 30 years of age will drop significantly, resulting in average fleet age projections of 22 years in August 23 and 20.5 years in December 24. Today, subway cars on 2 lines, the 7 and the L, are operating with CBTC technology installed and in operation. We are currently in the process of installing CBTC on the R160 cars that will operate on the E, F, M, and R lines to support the ongoing Queens Boulevard CBTC and subsequent CBTC projects. By conclusion of projects started in the 2020 through 24 program, 75% of our fleet will be configured with CBTC, thus ready to operate in CBTC territories. On to the R211. This contract will provide up to 1,612 new cars for NYCT and Staten Island Railway. These cars will replace the R46 fleet from NYCT's B division and the Staten Island R44 fleet, both of which are over 40 years old. The R211 fleet will expand the CBTC-equipped subway car fleet to enable significant expansion of CBTC on the B division as part of the 2020 through 24 capital program. The R211 fleet will include up to 597 additional cars to provide for future service growth, including cars on the next phase of the 2nd Avenue subway. The R211 contract was awarded to Kawasaki in February 2018 with a base order of 535 cars, including 440 standard cars, 75 Staten Island Railway cars, and 20 open gangway test cars. 2 subsequent options are included as part of the 2020 to 24 capital program. These options can be exercised for either standard or open gangway train sets, contingent upon our successful validation of the open gangway in the New York City subway system. Option 1 includes 640 cars, which are anticipated to arrive between 23 and 24. NYCT forecasts exercising this option in the first quarter of 2022, with the decision for an open gangway configuration to be made later in 22. Option 2 includes a quantity of up to 437 additional cars for fleet growth based upon future ridership and service projections. We forecast exercising this option by the fourth quarter of 2023. Under these options, the rate of car delivery will be accelerated by Kawasaki from 30 cars per month in the base order to 40 cars per month. The R211 project continues to advance at an ambitious but achievable pace in support of the project's aggressive production and delivery schedule. Critical design reviews have been completed with subsystem qualification testing in progress. The R211A pilot train is currently in production in Nebraska, which will be discussed in more detail on the upcoming slide. The R211T open gangway mock-up was completed in Japan earlier this month, as illustrated here, with both the bellows and hardwall designs shown. This is the mock-up itself in Japan. In addition, the agency's goals for safety, reliability, and sustainability are embedded into the R211 design with features such as CCTV, video network recorders, enhanced customer information signs, and the latest carborne monitoring and diagnostic tools, all embedded into an Ethernet network backbone. The R211 will be the first CBTC installed car, meaning that the onboard CBTC equipment was delivered installed and tested by the car builder prior to reaching NYCT. We remain on schedule for the delivery of the R211A pilot train in July 2020. Current project activities include system qualification testing on brakes and aux power. The pilot train will undergo extensive qualification tests in anticipation of production car deliveries beginning in October 2021. The base order is scheduled for completion in 2023, with subsequent options that are anticipated to continue deliveries to the year 2025, as detailed earlier. The R211T open gangway test trains remain on schedule as well for delivery to New York City Transit in May of 2021. The current project activities include endurance tests and critical design reviews on crash energy management. The R211S Staten Island train also remains on schedule with a December 2021 delivery. Here are a few photos of the R211A pilot cars under production in Kawasaki's Lincoln, Nebraska plant. On the left, installation of CBTC and communication system wiring can be seen as you're viewing the cab end of an A car. On the right, air duct installation has been completed for a roof-mounted Mitsubishi HVAC unit. Here you see exterior and interior photos of R211 pilot car number 1, providing you with an early glimpse of the wider doors and niches as well as the internal floor designs. Moving on, the R262 project is for the purchase of over 1,360 new A division cars to replace the aging R62 and R62A fleet, providing CBTC equipped cars to operate on the Lexington Avenue 4, 5, and 6 lines, as well as the Grand Central Shuttle. This procurement will also expand the A division fleet by up to 225 cars, which is aligned with the Signal Modernization Program. The base order and the first option of the R262 purchase will be funded in the 2020 through 24 capital program, with the second option funded in the subsequent capital program. The RFP authorizing resolution for this contract will be submitted in a future board package. Pending board approval, we are targeting the issuance of the RFP within this quarter and project to award the R262 contract in early 2021. The R262 technical specification is based on the R211 design, but also includes the following features: additional requirements for a condition-based maintenance system, updated and enhanced cybersecurity requirements, audio induction loops for hearing impaired customers, and speech-to-text capability. Our last project covered in today's presentation is the upgrade and CBTC conversion of the R142 and R142A cars, which were delivered in the early 2000s and are currently operating on the 2, 4, and 5 lines. This future project, slated to take place between the 2023 and 2028 timeframe, will include midlife upgrades for various control systems, including propulsion and doors, to improve overall car reliability. In addition, this effort will perform conversion of these cars for CBTC operation, providing a CBTC-equipped fleet for the 7th Avenue line, which is aligned with the Signal Modernization Program. The details surrounding the conversion of these cars are currently in development and will be updated at a later date. This concludes my report on the subway car capital program.
Questions, comments? All right, terrific. IEC, please, on cars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The IEC report on 179 and 211 rail procurements can be found on page 81 of your CPOC book. Regarding budgets, after reviewing the project expenditures, change orders, and program contingencies, the IEC finds the EAC remains within budget of $744 million since last report. The R179 schedule review, the IEC verified that the fleet delivery was completed in December 2019, 3 months later than last reported. This was largely due to quality production and technical issues, including part shortages. The R179 observations, as stated by the agency, 2 vehicles experienced door problems while in service. A root cause analysis report is being finalized, and the IEC will review this report once it's made available. R211s. Based on the project cost review, there have been no changes to the budget since the original EAC was established. The project is in its early stages, and changes should be expected. There will be some consumption of the contingency as it progresses through design testing and production phases. R211 schedule review. The 211 project was awarded February of 2018, including contract options which can be exercised in the 2020-24 capital program. The delivery of the first R211A pilot cars is planned for July 2020, which the IEC finds will be a challenge due to current sub-supplier and part shortages.
Thank you. Any questions for the IEC? Okay, Frank, can you take us, update us on bus procurement, please?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Frank Anacaro, Acting Vice President of Maintenance for Buses. In the interest of time, I'll summarize my comments. The presentation with the appendix attached provides more detail. As part of our Fast Forward plan, we are committed to a state-of-the-art bus fleet that makes smart use of technology to improve service, safety, environmental sustainability, customer amenities, and accessibility. We are fully committed to transitioning to a zero-emissions bus fleet by 2040. The launch of Transit and Truck Priority on 14th Street in October has been a great success, with M14 SBS bus speeds improving by 34%. We are really excited about our onboard automatic bus lane enforcement, or ABLE system, which uses automated mobile camera systems on buses to capture real-time bus lane violations. It is now operational on the M15, B44, and M14 SBS routes, and the system is showing results. More than 9,000 warnings have been issued to date. We plan to expand this program to bus routes in every borough, and the 2020 to 24 program includes $85 million for this. Traffic signal priority is a joint initiative to improve speeds. Currently, 69% of the fleet is TSP ready, and all new buses come with this technology. DOT has committed to at least 300 new TSP intersections each year, and 1,000 intersections after 2022 per year. Automatic passenger counters provide real-time ridership and loading information, allowing for improved service management and customer information. By the end of this capital plan, 90% of the fleet will be equipped. We currently have over 70% of the fleet equipped with cameras in the interior of the bus. In addition, we also now have exterior cameras. All new buses come with these systems, and the entire fleet will have interior cameras by the end of this capital program. We recently introduced backup cameras to the fleet, and all new buses will be equipped with this technology. Pedestrian turn warning systems provide an audible alert to pedestrians when the bus is turning. All new buses come with this technology, and 85% of the fleet will be equipped by the end of this new capital program. All of our new buses come with an improved high visibility design. At the end of the 20 to 24 capital program, 92% of our local transit buses will have high visibility improvements. We are fully committed to transitioning to a zero-emissions bus fleet by 2040. Battery technology, charging protocols, life cycle, and bus range are some of the important design aspects and standards on which we are driving this industry. I'm excited to say we recently began delivery of the first MTA-owned all-electric 15 articulated buses on our journey to a zero-emissions fleet. Delivery of these buses will be complete in March. We currently have 5 of these deployed on the M14. We expect to award a contract for 45 standard all-electric buses with an option for 30 more at the end of this year. These buses will operate in all 5 boroughs of the city and eliminate 70 tons of carbon dioxide per bus per year. We are investing $1.1 billion to purchase 500 electric buses and modified depots for electric bus operations. And from 2029 onward, the MTA will only purchase all electric buses. By the end of the new capital program, 90% of the fleet will be equipped with digital information screens, 95% will have Wi-Fi, and 82% will have USB charging ports. We're also working with the Senior Advisor for System-Wide Accessibility in making additional accessibility improvements. Examples include improved seat configurations, providing better options for customers with walkers and strollers, and we have implemented a proof of concept of hearing induction loops assisting our customers with hearing aid. Bringing these fleet purchase decisions and new technology features is an extensive engagement with our customers. We continually strive to meet our customers' needs and respond to their feedback. Some examples are shown in this slide. I'm happy to report that of the 1,776 buses funded in the 2015 through 19 program, we have completed delivery or awarded contracts for 96% of the plan, with only 4% remaining for award. This chart is an update of the 7 bus procurements from the 15 through 19 capital program discussed at last year's CPOC meeting. In total, these procurements came in approximately $59 million under the estimated budget, and in general were delivered on time or ahead of schedule. As shown here, the reliability of the buses purchased has improved significantly in comparison to past capital procurements. The 2020 through 24 capital program will greatly reduce the number of overage buses. From 2022 onward, the fleet average age will remain at 6 years. This last slide highlights the upcoming capital plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Well, let's ask a quick question. This may not be the forum to discuss it, but given that half of our fare evasion is occurring on buses, have we focused on that issue in terms of the purchasing of buses? I see there's going to be a customer count that obviously is helpful, but I'm wondering whether that is a separate focus given all of the buses we're going to be buying.
So that was exactly my question, and I'll turn it over.
Yeah, so we're, right now, with APC, we are evaluating using that directly to evade fare evasion, being able to make direct comparisons to fare box, equity to the actual passenger counters, and then we could make a more targeted approach to specific routes to mitigate fare evasion.
Yeah, the only thing I would like to add is that, I mean, we made a commitment with the implementation of Omni system-wide to an all-door boarding approach on the bus system. So we really have to work hard in regards to, you know, the APC information we get, the cameras, as well as a, you know, policing plan, you know, or a anti-fare evasion plan, I should say. You know, right now we know that on SBS routes where the Eagle team operates, our fare evasion is very low as compared to on local routes. So that'll be part of the plans that we have to strategize about.
Okay, good afternoon again. Oh, God. Okay, the IEC report on bus procurements can be found on page 116 of your CPOC book. On budgets, based on a review of expenditures, change orders, and contingency, the IEC finds the bus procurement program EAC remains within the $1.6 billion budget. On schedule, the IEC verified that all articulated and standard vehicles planned for 2019 were successfully delivered. The contract for 15 60-foot articulated all-electric buses is currently forecasted for completion in March of 2020, a 2-month schedule delay attributed to commissioning challenges. Observations. The IEC finds the MTA plans to invest $1.1 billion in all-electric bus procurement will require additional investment in later programs to accomplish this goal by 2040. The IEC recommends a comprehensive performance and cost analysis to be conducted and properly assess this program. This concludes my presentation.
Here's what I'm going to suggest, Mark Beanstalk, if this is okay with you. The board members and the public have the presentation. I'm going to, and the IEC's presentation. I'm going to suggest that unless people have questions or comments on those materials, that we turn to capital program status. Is that okay? Andrew?
Sure. Mark, on the map of the depots, the one that says, that's in Eastern Queens, that says Creedmoor, it should be OOR, not ORE.
Thank you. As I said. Tom?
As the vice chair of this committee, I'd like to make a suggestion. All documentation will be given to Andrew Albert before the rest of the committee has its pre-briefing for review of all names and nomenclature of New York City activities whatsoever. Can I have a motion for that, Pat? No, I'm just kidding.
Commissioner, that's unorthodox, but I think calls for it. Tim.
Good afternoon. I'd like to present the highlights of the commitment completion capital report for 2019, which starts on page 146. In 2019, agencies committed $4 billion, or 72% of its overall $5.6 billion goal. The shortfall was primarily due to the slips of 20 major commitments, including 12 projects at New York City Transit, 1 at Long Island Railroad, and 2 at Metro North. One of those projects, which is the signal modernization for 8th Avenue corridor, was awarded a few days into January when the nearly $500 million total project. When that's included, the 72% completion goal increases to 79%. So that's a major factor. Moving on to completions, in 2019's agencies completed $3.5 billion, or 101% of their overall $3.43 billion goal, exceeding their 2009 annual goal due to several 2020 completions that were completed ahead of schedule. And I'm ready to take any other questions on the report you may have.
of 2020. Any other questions, comments? Then I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Thanks, everybody.